Okay, we need to cut across to Shireen Bhan, who is in conversation with the Goa Chief Minister Manohar Parrikar. Shireen, it's over to you.
Well, on Election Exchange today, we're now joined by the Chief Minister of Goa, Mr. Manohar Parrikar. Mr. Parrikar, appreciate you joining us here on CNBC TV 18. Let me start by asking you about the mining ban in your state. It was a ban that you imposed. It was then taken forward by the Supreme Court. There is hope that a final order in this matter will be delivered by the Supreme Court, perhaps by the end of this month. The likelihood is that the Supreme Court will in fact lift the ban, but the kind of restrictions that are likely to be imposed is where the grey area is. What are your assumptions at this point in time?
No, any restriction which basically takes care of environment and proper management of the movement of the ore, that means the legality part of it, are welcome. Government has already put in steps and we are in position to put those restrictions on place. There is no harm in them. But
are you in favor of a cap? Which is what a committee has been set up to look into, because my understanding is that the state government is not in favor of a cap on mining.
No, there is a basic logic. The cap concept has to be explored, as I feel. Where do we cap? Cap it for a local mine, cap it for a village, cap it for a taluka, cap it for state, or cap it for country. This is my concept about it. A cap should be basically production cap. It has to be across country. The country has to decide.
So you're saying there has to be uniformity across every state?
Yes, and it has to be decided as a country as a whole. You cannot have a, what do you mean by intergeneration equity for only a restricted area? It cannot be. The area has to be across the nation. So cap has to be based on the nation as a whole. For an individual mine, the cap exists through an environment clearance certificate.
Right.
There is already a cap. The cap we are proposing is because of logistic and other problems. So if there is no logistic problem, and if proper exploration is carried out based on the real quantum of the ore, I feel that cap can be decided, but I don't think you should call it a cap. You can allow things to be controlled based on economy also.
But who should take that call? Should the state government take that call?
Obviously.
Because as of now, it seems
state government has to take it.
And what
state government and central government together has to take it.
But what if
I feel that if required, the appropriate laws has to be
amended, both at the state level as well as at the central level?
Wherever required.
Okay. You said that a lot of things have been put in place to actually facilitate the restarting of mining. Let me ask you about the e-auction process, where you actually have been given the clearance to be able to auction the 11 million tons that are still lying within the state. Where do things stand? How soon can we see this process take off?
It's not 11 million tons. It's more
than that, 11.48.
Yeah. There's no figure written in the Supreme Court order, but what is important is available ore. So we have started the auction. 17th February, I think, is the first lot, about 7-8 lakh tons, almost a million, which is mostly lying on jetties and port, which is being cleared. So that jetties get cleared, an empty plot, we can start movement of the ore from the pit heads, mine heads.
So you're saying on the 17th, the first auction will take place?
Probably will take place.
Okay. You've also spoken about, or there have been reports of differences as far as your opinion is concerned on the buffer zone. Environmentalists believe that the buffer zone should be at least 10 kilometers. You believe that it should be at least 1 kilometer. And you believe if it's 10 kilometers, all activity will come to a virtual halt as far as states like Goa are concerned.
First of all, the buffer zone concept is not understood by me at all. When you have declared a particular area as a wildlife, you have already taken into consideration the buffer zone.
Right.
What we are talking is a eco-sensitive area beyond wildlife. It depends on the situation. First of all, if there is a big river, then where does whatever logic is being expressed stand? So it will depend on the local area, how the buffer zone is devised. The concept, once it is understood, please leave it to the local area specific to decide how much buffer should be there. So because you cannot you cannot have the same shirt fit all.
Yeah.
So we in India seems to believe that one particular size of can be given to everyone to fit. So it has to be a local dependence.
You know, the report now seems to have swung the other way, from saying that you were anti-mining, anti-corporate and all of that. Now the suggestion seems to be that Manohar Parrikar is actually turned pro-mining, turned pro-industry, and things like relaxation as far as the buffer zone is concerned is a swing towards that direction. How do you respond to that criticism?
In fact, I don't believe in buffer zone. Eco-sensitive zone, okay, but buffer zone is already taken into consideration when wildlife is notified. And most
so
of
you're
the
saying there's no need for any additional...
Wildlife already has a buffer zone. Secondly, I believe that it should be area specific. There may be area where 10 kilometers is also required. I'm not saying that, but don't make it as a general rule that you...
It has to be 10 or 5 or whatever the case.
From at all. It was 10 kilometers initially put up during Vajpayee's time for consideration as one of the discussion points. But if I suppose I accept 10 kilometers for Salim Ali Bird Sanctuary, then all city of Panji also comes under that. Now, do you think that Panji is a sensitive zone for a bird sanctuary? For a bird sanctuary, there is on three sides there is water. On the other side, half a kilometer is more than adequate. Not even half a kilometer. 300 meters is more than adequate. So you have to be site specific based on the actual ground reality. And if required, why 10 kilometers? It can be 100 kilometers also if required. For
so
example, Andaman Nicobar may have a eco-sensitive.
So it has to be relevant to the area that is concerned. Let me, move forward now, and whatever the court decides to do, whether it's on the 20th of February as is expected or later or earlier, let me ask you about the mechanisms that you are actually putting in place. And let me quote to you what you had said. You said we need clear laws and strict implementation instead of a moral debate on the issues of mining. It exists. Let's tackle it. What has the government done to put in place a mechanism that will ensure that you don't have unrestricted, unregulated mining activity?
The basic logic is we have notified transportation rules. No one can just come up and start transporting ore.
Which is what was happening. There were only 8,000 registered truck owners, but 16 to 20,000 were actually operating in the state.
Now only the truck which has a proper recognition by the government with whatever mechanism, whether it is a barcode mechanism, whether it is a radio frequency use, we will decide about that, and that will immediately get implemented when this e-auction takes place, because that movement will be regulated through this mechanism. We can take the trials. We'll also monitor it at the export point. Most of the gone ore is exported, so we can fit all those kind of equipments, and we'll do it. Unless that is in place, we'll not allow the movement to take place.
So that's